Hey, welcome to the 2 hour grind. I'm Nate, and today I'm going to be drawing for 2 hours, like I'd like to call it. The 2 hour grind is the 2 hour grind for a reason. So I'm starting off with nothing. I really don't have much of an idea. I kind of have an idea of what I would like to. I don't know what character. I don't know any of those other specifics today. It's one of those days that I'm just going to kind of like throw stuff at the wall and hopefully something sticks. I do really like this paper though that I used. I used it on this Hawk Girl piece that I did recently, so it's got a nice little texture to it, and it's a more of a warm gray scale than some of the other ones that I use. Sometimes I use like a cool gray paper. I'll show you an example of that. So a little bit different, but I do like to use, toned paper most of the time because you get a nice half tone or half, the halfway point. So when you put those highlights down on top of it, it really can pop things forward. So I'm going to begin with a sketch, and we're going to see where it leads. I like I said, I kind of have an idea of something, but not really sure. And if you've ever watched any of my other live streams, that can be quite a bit before I get an actual final sketch, and the final sketch never looks like the first sketch that I draw. It's kind of how I work. I'm a scribbler. I like to work fast and then erase and work fast and erase, and that's kind of what I do. A little bit more gestural, things like that. So I do like to start with like basic shapes. I use like the greater than or equal to or less than sign basically for shoulders and hips. When I'm setting up a body, I'll use that nice line of beauty, that like S curve, to set up a spine. I kind of want this character to be sitting. You're looking kind of down on them. So you got that. You got this. And like I said, it'll probably change a bunch before I finalize the actual design. But I'm thinking, for some reason, I just want to do like a big rocket launcher. Girl with rocket launcher. I don't know what I'm going to draw today. We'll see. I'll iron out all those like details and all the like, anatomy issues, all the like proportions and things like that will happen eventually. It doesn't always start off looking as, like a final piece. I know a lot of other artists can just put down lines and be like, this is exactly what I want it to look like, and just draw. That's not how I work. Unless I've drawn it before and I already like have done it before, and then I can just kind of copy what it is a second time. There are some of those awesome artists though that you can watch live draw. I know one of them. One of my favorites passed away. Kim. Oh my gosh. Jung-Ji Kim. Why am I going to say it the wrong way? Oh my gosh, I do this to myself. I didn't look it up beforehand to double check it. But he would do these amazing pieces, and like the proportions and the perspective and all these things would be so amazing. And he would just start drawing with marker, black pen, or black Sumi ink with a brush, or whatever it might be that he was working with, and it would just go down on the paper, and it would be like amazing. I'm like, how's your brain do that? Mine doesn't do it. Mine's like super sketchy. I'm just like scribbles and sketches. So we'll see what I can come up with in the 2 hour grind. That's what it's all about. Might be my own character design at the end of it. Might change a bunch. Probably gonna mess up my whole stream by trying to include a little bit of music, but sometimes, a little bit too much quiet, I'm gonna work with it. We'll see how it goes. I noticed, sometimes my connection will reconnect and you might miss like little chunks. Luckily, it's been linking the whole video as one on occasion. Sometimes it separates it and I get like 3 videos instead once I go over it and look at them after the stream ends. But so I kind of want it to be like looking, you know, kind of down on the character, not really. You know, there's a certain look that I'm going for this one. So when I sketch a lot, one of the things is like the average line, right? In a mathematical sense, right? I'm gonna scribble and I'm gonna draw that line like 8 times, and then I will, when I go in and ink or color or whatever it is, I'll like kind of finalize where that actual line sits. But usually I'm a pretty sketchy worker, like in the art sense, you know, in the art world. It's a little bit sketchy, a little bit fast. Trying to place some of those cross contour lines to like make the shapes become forms, make it feel a little bit more three-dimensional instead of just a flat character. Leg might not be quite where I wanted to go. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Like I said, sketch and scribble, and then my favorite part, the erase. This is what I do. Pencils, inks, and mistakes, right? And you know, I include them all because, and I call it mistakes, but they're not really mistakes. Sometimes, yes, I will end up finalizing a picture and just not, I don't know, not too happy with the like end result. Sometimes there's one part that I'm like, I gotta fix that, or I gotta figure out a way to like tweak that or fix it. Again, part of being an artist, right? one of the things that I haven't done the past couple streams is use like reference photos, and that is something that I will tell, you know, a lot of young artists, use a reference photo, especially when you're doing a pose or like a specific thing, you know what I mean? Like find something to like reference to, you know, put your character in that right pose, because otherwise you're gonna end up like me, scribbling and then scratching it out and redrawing it, but it'll be cool. I'll get this. We're gonna get it. Sorry, I just keep noticing when it does the reconnecting glitch, and I don't know how to fix it. Alright, starting from scratch, because this is what I do. Alright, let's go. Let's go. bit of weight, you know, sitting on the ground. It's not the easiest angle for some reason for right now. I know I had this like basic idea, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna draw that today, and then, you know, here's all the things that go along with it. Cheers. Alright, now cross contour lines, always very important, right? If you're trying to make a shape become a form. And that, it involves just like going around the form, right? So when you look at folds in clothes and things, you know, they're kind of wrapping up and around the form. And that's kind of what I go with for most of the time when I'm sketching things. They start off shapes, and then I kind of do those cross contour lines. Now, they might not be inked, those lines might not stay there for a while, but they will give that illusion, especially when I start to add the value to it, that it does curve around the form, and it becomes that shape more. It'll put things in space. Especially when you're doing like overlapping shapes, right? The one that's in the foreground or in front of the other one. That's really kind of important to separate and differentiate between those forms so they don't get lost or flatten the picture out. Now, granted, easier said than done, especially when I even talk about it and I don't always follow my own things and I'm like, hey, do this, but it's you know, in the head, yes, I'm trying my best to do it. Doesn't always turn out that way. For instance, that leg, not happening. There's got to be more of that overlap, right? You're not going to see everything. It's got to be set a little bit higher, a little bit back. I'm turning her into Magik from X-Men? I don't know, alright, you know. What's she up here in New Mutants 14? Shit. Oh man, too many things to remember. I think it was New Mutants, one of her first apps. I think she might have had a few. I don't know. See, this is what happens. Like, art is fluid, right? And I dig that part of art, and that's one of the reasons that I create, right? It's like, you just kind of start drawing something, and then it becomes its own thing. So she's kind of gonna turn into a Magik, I guess. As much as I love the X-Men and all those things, so maybe that's kind of what she's gonna become. So she's gonna be holding her sword back behind her head, you know, getting a little warm up, getting a little something. I don't know. Sometimes they draw her with those hoof feet, but I'm not gonna do that. She's gonna have some heels and yeah, in my you know, kind of in my own style. I don't know. I don't really know where this is going now. You guys let me know though. What are you thinking? Huh? I mean, like, of course, as usual. So like, if anybody's interested, these sketches do go up sometimes on eBay. If they're not on eBay, hit me up. I might still have some of these sitting around. Might be a little early to throw that claim it if you want it, but you know, it is what it is. So not really her build or or her anatomy though, so you know, it is what it is. 2-hour grind, drawing it out, not sure. Where any of this is actually going today. The 2-hour grind is all about just like holding myself accountable and getting myself drawing every day, and that's the main reason that I'm doing this stuff. As a comic artist that, you know, kind of just get better. Alright, and I'm back. So, raising some arms, gonna try to reposition some things. For the most part, I'm getting closer. You know, this is just how I work. Might not be the right way to work. Might not be your way to work. If you're checking this out though, so turned into Magik from X-Men / New Mutants / whatever, you know. add value to the skin tone stuff, because I probably mentioned this previously, but when I get to actually coloring, the pencils will actually, like, the alcohol markers will actually absorb some of the pencil and put it back down in places that you don't always want it. So it's one of those things I try not. I didn't really have a plan today of like where I was going with this image, but it turned out to be, you know, she's getting there, and I feel like it could be pretty strong once I get it finished. I got to figure out the arms, you know, like the overlapping and putting one in front of her. It didn't. Absolute Wonder Woman now. Absolute Wonder Woman now. She's got like some giant ass sword like that too, you know. Bust her sword, bust some, you know, bust some mofos up. She's got pretty long hair, so that's gonna be hanging down. Couple strands. start to where I'm at. You know, hour and 20 minutes in, pretty close. 2-hour grind. First one usually is just the whole drawing process. It takes me about that long just to get a sketch done. Unless, you know, unless I have a really good idea and I already know the pose and everything else. But when I'm actually just drawing and scribbling and coming up with ideas, this is it, you know? And it is all about that process, right? That creative process, that zone. You can get into that meditative part. There's so much good things that go into like drawing and into art that I probably don't talk about because I'm in that zone, you know? Kind of feel like I lost the music, maybe not. Should her backhand have should the sword be foreground? She's got this hand in it. Blast, you know, it's sticking in the ground. Can't really get in her pose. Boop. Sword is here. That's what I'm kind of debating right now. I don't know. That's what I'm trying to figure out. So she's changed a lot. I'm kind of liking it. Kind of, you know, it's growing on me. Her other arm is coming forward. Now, one of the things I didn't plan was this pose. So, like, now it's coming up with her other arm. And I want to make sure it's on the paper, which is going to be tough because I'm getting really close to that edge. And that's one of the things I've talked about. So it's kind of trying to figure that out, right? Where do I want to put her other arm? Do I want to put the second her sword? You know, do I want to put it here? It'll cut off part of her foot, but like, you know, as long as this curve is kind of there, certain curves I want to keep in there, you know, for, you know, reasons. Do I want to put the sword in her hand back here? Does she have her sword at all? Is she just like kind of like two arms, you know? Hey, what's going on? Flicking somebody off? I don't know. You want to fucks with some magic? Go ahead. Speaking of magic, Magic the Gathering Turtles comes out soon. I'm excited for those. Couple collector booster boxes coming my way, I'm hoping. Rip some of those on my channel coming up soon. Just opened another Chocobo bundle. The Final Fantasy one is pretty dope. I had a lot of fun with those. That'll be up on my YouTube channel too, that opening, within the next couple days. Alright, need a minute just to chill and let this marinate for a minute. What are you guys thinking? Am I kind of there? Like, you know, is it an alright pose? Is it just complete shit? Should I start over? like, what's the deal? What are you guys thinking? I don't get a lot of chat action, so, you know, if you're here, let me know. I do appreciate you guys stopping by and checking us out, though. Much appreciated. I mean, there's some things that I think when I look at it, it is kind of working. Like she feels like she's sitting in space, right? And that's one of the things that's like kind of tough sometimes when you're drawing and you want them to feel like they're actually there in that realm, you know. And I kind of think that that part's working. There are aspects that I got to figure out still. Like, I don't know. I didn't really know at first she was swinging the sword, right? And her one hand was overlapping, but I kind of broke it down, and now she's kind of out like this. So I got to come up with the hands. I got to figure those out. I got to figure out, you know, a couple of the other things. So, but overall, I'm kind of digging it. I know, again, I know I'm biased. It's my art, so. But overall, I think she's coming together. I want to put the X, the middle of the X, a little bit higher up. she's got to have the sword. I just can't decide if she should have it in that back arm. That arm, I mean, her forearm could be changed and she could have it. It's a big ass sword, so when she's holding it, is it gonna could she hold it in that hand where it is right now? You know, holding it back like she's about to swing it, or is it gonna be too fucking big and she can't swing it? You know, like what should I do with that? I thought about it. Maybe it's in the ground behind her, you know, and she's just like, whatever, doing whatever she's doing. Like, come on, come on, come on, come on, let's go. Also, don't know if I want that leg back or that foot back there. I might just push it back behind her other leg like it was. I can't decide if it needs to be there or not. You know, it's all about overlapping, right? You want things to feel like they're in that space. So overlapping shapes and those cross contour lines, the lines, all very important about like making something feel like it's sitting in the space. Like when you're drawing anybody, any character, and like for instance, you know, the arms, like these curved lines, those cross contour lines really are making this arm kind of feel like it's coming out. This one is getting set back in space. Like I feel like there's parts of it that are actually pretty strong. Again, you know, that's just my opinion, but like as an artist, those are the things you got to think about, and those are the things that we got to take into account when we are drawing and sketching. I know she's gonna have another 2 hour grind like Wednesday probably. I'll be on to finish her up, and Thursday, not sure, but one of the days coming up. Alright, I mean, I'm stuck at this moment. I'm an hour and 50 in, an hour and 51 into the 2 hour grind, and I'm a little stumped of what I want to do with that back arm. Like, I need her sword, right? She's gotta have her big ass sword, and but how do I want to do it? How do I make it feel like she's, like she's not holding it all the way back here, just like chilling, right? Like, so I gotta make that work still. So I'm trying to figure that out, and a little bit of the stalling is happening, but that's only because of that. The rest of the pulls, I'm digging. I'm digging the front arm. She's kind of whatever she's doing with it, whatever she's doing with her hand. It's magic. She can change into a monster, demon, whatever she does. Can be a little crazy. Sucks because I do like this arm, but I think I'm gonna have to change it. Like bring it down a little bit so she's holding her sword still on her shoulder. Something here. Bring this down a little bit. Bring this in. Sword over her shoulder. I also don't. So I want to frame certain parts of her to make it like work, right? So composition wise, it's got to work, and that's where I'm at. That's where I'm trying to decide on. So it might be the next 2 hour grind that I actually knock this thing out completely, but I think I gotta scrap this arm. And then get her to hold that sword. But besides that, I think everything else is looking pretty good. You guys let me know what you think into the comments below. Where should it go? How should she be holding her sword? Could be in the back. She's holding it like that. So many options, so many choices. As an artist, this is what it comes down to, right? Making those choices, trying to figure it out. Yeah. I think I need some fresh eyes on her, though. But I think she's coming along pretty nice. not big enough. Even though there's some overlapping going on and it's a little bit back in space, the sword is not big enough right there. Curve. Alright, I'm going to call it for today's 2-hour grind. Thank you guys so much for stopping by and checking this out. If you want to see more of this Magik come into life, I will be continuing her probably Wednesday, I don't know, either tomorrow or Wednesday in the 2-hour grind, so I'll be streaming live again. It'll be inks, colors, finalizing those pencils. So if you want to check back by and see more of that, make sure you do. Alright? Thank you guys so much for checking this out. Again, you know, subscribe if you want to see more of my art grinds. If you have any questions about anything, you know, art related, please reach out to me and ask those questions. I'll do my best to answer. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, I'm Nate. This was the 2-hour grind, and I'll catch you on the next grind.